Welcome. I'm Stasha, the period coach, founder of Period Coaching School, and I'm here today to chat with my health coaches. We are going to talk about your menstruating clients' needs, how not to hurt them, how to help them, and it's really a huge blind spot in the industry. Now, if you are a business coach, a relationship coach, or you're interested in straight up period coaching, I've got videos for you as well, and you're welcome to go check those out. Today, I'm going to focus in on my health coaches. I, too, started off as a health coach. My first coaching certification was for health coaching from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. 10 years ago now, when they very first went online, it was awesome. I loved it. I learned a ton. I really enjoyed it, and I would recommend it to anybody because it's just such an important thing to learn. Health coaching is just huge. It's a huge industry. It's helping people all over the world. I really love it. I love coaching industry in general. So, health coaches, let's chat. I remember when I was doing my health coaching training, I got some version of this question. A client was just served divorce papers. Do we focus on eating greens in today's coaching session? It was intended to make you laugh, the ridiculousness of it. But it was also a really poignant point to when you have a client who's dealing with some other crisis, do you really think that eating more greens is going to be the answer that they need right now, or even something that they're capable of doing in that moment? So I really want to preface this whole talk with, if your clients are in some kind of menstrual distress, are they really going to be able to focus on eating more greens or drinking more water or getting rid of the sugar in their diet or whatever the things are that you're working on? No, they're not. And 90% of menstruators are going to have a hormonal imbalance. So if you have menstruating clients, there's going to be problems, whether it's PMS or something worse, PMDD, endometriosis, PCOS, infertility, all sorts of different things that can go wrong. Things that we don't talk about, things that are taboo, things that are shamed, things that are swept under the rugs, things that you may not tell your health coach because most people don't think that anything like that is abnormal. A lot of people think that pretty much everything that goes wrong with menstruation is just tough luck. Give them some birth control, have a hysterectomy, takes care of the problem. Unfortunately, those aren't real good answers. And you as health coaches know that. You already know that 9 times out of 10, a prescription is not necessarily what people need, and it's usually not the pathway back to real health. It's more of a Band-Aid. So just take a step back and look at your coaching practice. Do you have menstruating clients? Yeah, you can probably make a pretty good guess as to who in your coaching clients are menstruating or not. And it's an easy thing to just add into your intake form. So you can find out really quickly and easily without really needing to get into too much right out of the gate. So I'm setting setting the box here for today's discussion. You have menstruating clients. This is where we're gonna go, okay? We wanna deal with the problems. It's a pretty big blind spot. Menstruation, just in general, is a pretty big blind spot. It's our cultural taboo. And it's a global taboo. So it's not just, us in the States. It's everyone everywhere. It's a big taboo, and it's a problem around the world. So it's a global issue. It's an industry blind spot. Health coaching often only has maybe one module on the menstrual cycle in it, usually not more than that, and it usually doesn't really get into very much or very deep. So it's a big problem as far as the industry is concerned, as well as just a global problem that we need to deal with. There's very little training. Like health coaching, period coaching is a huge umbrella that encompasses a ton of stuff, not just cramps. It's a really huge umbrella. So, very much like when you probably went to health coaching, you thought, well, I'm just going to help people eat well. And then you took the health coaching course and you realized just how much there was involved in it. And you went, well, that's a lot bigger than I thought it was. That's very much what period coaching is like. You realize it's a much bigger umbrella than it is. 90% of menstruators are going to have a hormonal imbalance. Usually it's not just ooh, I have a hormonal imbalance today, and then it goes away. Generally, it turns into different things. It gets worse, it morphs, it changes. If you have a bad menstrual cycle, one could assume you've got PMS. One could assume you're going to likely have a harder perimenopause and menopause transition. There's a lot that goes into this, and there's a lot that knocks us out of balance. And this is one of the reasons that having this knowledge for health coaches is so important, because what we do can actually make it worse. So we need to have this awareness, and we need to work on making it better. There's a very long list of period problems. It's kind of endless. It goes on and on and on and on and on. So we need to rein in this list of period problems by giving our clients the education and the tools that they can use in order to start reducing and eliminating these things. Your clients, if they menstruate, have them. And it changes throughout the lifetime. So from the very first menstruation until the very last menstruation, there are a lot of things that can go wrong. And every decade essentially has a hormonal shift. So teens, when you get your first period, through the kicking on of the ovaries and the hormones, it's a couple of years for that to really get any kind of rhythm or regularity. Generally, that's when doctors prescribe birth control. They usually prescribe it in order to regulate the cycle. That's generally what they call it. It does not regulate the cycle. It actually turns off the ovaries. So it's not very helpful for teens, especially for their long-term health. It's not really good for anyone's long-term health, but the 20s have generally a good regularity and flow to them, though a lot of the problems start to rear their heads in their 20s. 30s, things start to slow down. 40s is where we hit perimenopause, and 50s are generally menopause. So all of those decades have a shift in hormone and balance, and learning how to move and flow with those shifts is going to make a huge impact. And your clients can walk away knowing what to expect and how to deal with that as they come up. Do no harm. Here's the thing. When we don't know what we don't know, we end up doing harm. We don't know about cycles, we don't know how they work, we don't know how to avoid making them worse, and we end up doing harm. I'm going to show you some examples down the road, but one of the things that's always gotten me and that I see health coaches doing a lot is giving them detoxes or eliminations or these kinds of things at the wrong time of the menstrual cycle. It sets your client up for failure. They're not going to be able to do it. They're going to feel really terrible. You're going to deprive them of probably some nutrition that they need, even though I know getting rid of sugar deprives them from the nutrition that they need. But it's a problem that I see happen a lot. And then they're going to fail, and they're going to feel like a failure. And so the next time that they try to do it, they're going to already feel like they can't. So you're setting them up for failure rather than setting up for success. The flip side of the coin is that I see people trying to push them or settle them down. You know, in the menstrual cycle, there's a real up extroverted phase. And a lot of times I'll see clients trying to do meditation for the first time, but it's in this phase and they're having a really hard time and they're feeling like a failure. And it's just setting them up for failure again. So really learning how to coordinate your homework or what kind of things you're going to work on in each session with your client's cycle can make a huge difference between success and failure for them, which of course will influence their later successes or failures with you as their coach. So we want to make sure we're not doing any harm. We want to make sure we're setting up our clients for success, and we want to make sure that they feel really good working with us. Last but not least, green menstruation. And this is important because obviously we need to deal with climate change, and menstrual health is a big part of that. Disposable menstrual products are the second most thrown away thing next to diapers. So we really need to deal with green menstruation. And I know almost every health coach that I know has a real big love of the planet and the environment and making sure that we're doing the best to protect not just us, but also the world that we live in. And green menstruation is a big part of that. So if you're working with menstruating clients, having a conversation about greening their cycle, using reusable products, these kinds of things can really make a big difference. And if we're all doing it, huge difference. So you can really green menstruation and help save the planet through this as well. And here's the thing. It's a taboo. Menstruation is a taboo. It's tough to get around. It's tough to get into that conversation. It's awkward. It's weird. It's just hard because of the taboo. The taboo takes lives. Women, menstruators, die regularly because we don't have the knowledge that we need to have about menstruation. I know it sounds ridiculous, but think about all of the stuff that you learned in health coaching school and all of the things that can go wrong and all of the ways that we could be helping and saving lives through health coaching. And it's no difference here. It's a huge problem and we need to deal with it. So we need to talk about it. We need to shed life on it. When we're in this taboo place, there's no relief. You get no help. You get no support. You get no love. You're really stuck and isolated. The taboo, because we can't have these conversations, because we can't do anything, makes us, of course, feel worse, more depressed, more anxious. It brings down the mood. You know how important gut health is. Well, gut health affects our mood, right? It affects our hormonal balance. It affects how our reproductive hormones work. It affects everything, and vice versa. Our reproductive hormones actually have influence over how our gut health is. So we really need to be dealing with this as part of a healthy, holistic health coaching business. We have no concept of what birth control can or cannot do. Most people think it regulates the reproductive cycle. It does not. It's a complete blind side that we're fighting against, and you probably don't even realize it because it's just so not talked about. The lack of fertility awareness makes us dependent on doctors, makes us dependent on prescription, makes us dependent on our partners. The lack of fertility awareness is huge, and this is so easy. It's really such an easy thing to do, an easy thing to learn, and it eliminates so much dependence that we have on other people for our own fertility and our own health. So we don't understand menstruation, we don't understand the taboo, so we don't coach our clients on it, we don't coach them in flow, we don't do what we need to do to help them, and it ends up making an impact, but a negative impact on them. So it's certainly something that we need to take into account and we need to start talking about. We need to end that taboo. Now, health coaching has big results, and you know that. You've seen that in your clients, you've seen that in school, you've seen that with your colleagues, and this is the exact same thing for period coaching. It has huge results. When you are working with your clients in flow, it is going to help your clients. And this graphic is something that I created that just sort of explains what you can look forward to as a period coaching client. So if you are the client, these are some of the things that you can get from period coaching or in-flow health coaching. You're going to have an increase in confidence. You're going to have an increased or improved lifestyle, right? You know that as those symptoms are ended, as people start to feel better, as they're feeling more at peace in their body, their confidence increases, their lifestyle gets improved. They're also going to have menstrual health knowledge, right? They're going to learn so much about themselves and their reproductive cycle. They're going to improve their relationships. They'll know more about themselves. It's going to spill out to their relationships. And of course, you know the importance. We don't want more routine in life. We want more consciousness, more awareness, being present, being aware, being in it. This is our ritual, and we need to have more of that. And period coaching is one of those ways that we can get there, but our clients really do reap that reward. Your clients will see expanded success because of the period coaching, because of health coaching in flow, we can call it. It's just going to expand their successes and it's going to expand yours. At the end of the day, we want to see more healthy, happy, well people in the world, and we want to see more successful health coaches. That's what we're here for. The period coaching industry is a very diverse, very large industry. And I really think that bringing health coaching and period coaching together is going to be an amazing thing for both industries. Now, you're a visionary pioneer. That's just kind of what it comes down to. You are probably one of those people who is ahead of the curve, who gets things before most everyone else does, who is at the forefront of the world. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. Periods are taboo. It's a little bit weird. It's a little bit out there. So generally, the play it safe people aren't here, but the people who are really dedicated to health, to wellness, to being at the forefront of these fields, you're the ones that are here right now. We've got a wide open field, it's a wide open industry, and there's not a lot of others out there doing this work. So if you're a visionary, if you're a pioneer, if you're someone at the forefront of things, this is definitely for you. There's infinite niches when it comes to period coaching. There is just so much that you can do. The different things that you can combine with it. I mean, think about endometriosis, Lyme disease, and endometriosis. There's a field. IBS and endometriosis. There's another one. Or which is often actually misdiagnosed. Endometriosis is IBS. What if you wanted to be a gluten-free PMDD coach? You know, how to reduce PMDD through gluten-free living, or PCOS and diabetes, fitness and flow. There's so many things that we can do for our menstruating clients around fitness. I worked with athletes. That was my first health coaching business, was working with athletes. So fitness and flow is certainly one of my jams. Food and flow. One of my first group programs was it was called Happy Hormones. And it was helping people balance their hormones through a 30-day detox cleanse. So we did a 30-day whole foods, nourishment-based diet, and I encouraged them to start in their follicular phase, where it's easier to do those kinds of things. And we would just take it round for a cycle. It was quite fun, and I did it for a few years. In fact, it turned into Food and Flow, which was its final incarnation. And now I still teach food. I just teach it within my Flow Freedom program and to my school students. So I've never I still teach movement and exercise, fitness and flow. I still teach food and flow. I still teach all those health coaching things that I developed in the first few years of my business as a health coach, and turning it into a period coaching business. And I still teach those principles to today. So I really love it, but you can really nerd out on this niche front and go into some really cool, awesome different places. Community. Community is a big one. You know, this is one of those areas where the more you have people together who get it, the better off it's going to be, and the more we can improve and expand for our communities as well. Collaboration. We have so much fun collaborating. I mean, I have partnerships with people who have intuitive eating businesses, who have business coaching businesses, who have relationship coaching businesses. There's so much fun and collaboration in the period coaching industry, in this niche. I mean, it's a huge niche, but within this real big niche, there's so much room for collaboration, for helping support each other, for sharing your business, for sharing my business. We really have a great place where there's so much overlap and there's so much power and visibility, amplification that we can do together between our community and our collaborating spirits. We can get a lot done. And of course, it's a very fulfilling thing. I mean, knowing that your clients are getting holistic help from you is super fulfilling. And I don't think you'll be surprised. I know as a health coach, I was surprised at first to see what a huge impact health coaching can have on people. And now when I moved into period coaching, I had clients who told me, you know, my marriage was on the rocks and this saved it. Or I was quite close to committing suicide because I couldn't live with this anymore and there was no one I could tell about it, and you saved my life. It's a very fulfilling industry, and it's a very fulfilling calling. So I really highly recommend creating a safe place to end this taboo and to get this information to your people, because they're going to have their minds blown over and over and over again. It's going to explain so much. To this day, it doesn't get old to me when somebody goes, oh my God, I get it now. This explains so much. That's never going to get old, I don't think. And I want you to experience it as well. Now, of course, health coaching for you equals big results, right? You as a health coach have seen big results. You've gotten better. You've felt better. You've taken it to the next level. You've gotten yourself out of maybe a bad job or something that you just didn't like, and you've created a business that you love, working with people that you love, working with the clients that you love, or maybe you're on the way, but you've seen some big results. And again, we've got this huge diverse industry where you can learn so much for so many people with that collaboration and community spirit. So you really can end up having huge results with period coaching. Just like with your clients, of course, your lifestyle is going to improve. The more you're doing in flow, even if you don't have a menstrual cycle, even if you come in and you are taking this from the moon cycle perspective, you're going to have a different perspective on what lifestyle looks like, on what ebb and flow looks like, at what work and rest looks like, and your lifestyle is going to improve from it. And people are going to want to work with you because they're going to see those great results and how it affects you, and they're going to want to work with you more. Of course, you need to learn about the menstrual cycle, and that's where, learning the basics of the menstrual cycle come in, and learning how all this stuff works. Support, having support behind you as you learn, as you experiment, as you try things. You're going to want to have that support, whether it's a mentor, a coach, a biz buddy, something that can really help you feel supported and feel like you've got a nourishing, safe space to learn, especially when you start working with clients and you want to refer back, ask questions. My client is saying this, but then this is weird. So what do you guys think? Just having some kind of support where you can go and get some more information makes a huge difference to your success and your confidence going out there. Of course, your business will be in flow. As you learn how to live more in flow, again, whether it's your menstrual cycle or it's the moon cycle, your business is going to flow as well. It's going to get easier. It's crazy. I know it sounds nuts. If you don't believe me, go listen to the business coaching video as well. But your business is going to get easier as it gets in flow. And of course, community. If we keep it an awesome community full of people who understand and get and empathize, we can make it really very special. So what does the path to period coaching look like? Well, I thought I'd put it in flow in waterfalls for you. So charting is our first step, and this is basically where you learn the lingo. You start to chart. Again, whether you have a cycle or not, you start to chart. You learn the tools, you learn the lingo, you learn the vocabulary, you learn what it means to chart. Self. You start to experiment on yourself. What would it look like if I did this thing in flow? What would it look like if I spent a little bit more of my life in flow? What would it look like if I planned my kids' play dates in flow, or the meal prep in flow? In business, what does it look like if I start applying these principles to business? If I start planning my business in flow, if I start recording when it's at the peak of that energy, if I start doing my data when I'm more mentally suited to doing that. There's just so many bits and pieces to a business that can be done in flow. And my goal is to never train a coach to get out there and burn out. My goal is to train coaches so that they can go out there and flow, so that it can be fun, so that they can do the hard work in an easy way, and so that no one has to burn out or feel overwhelmed or stressed or hustled to an inch of their life. So I really want to see people creating long-term businesses that they can keep moving forward without burning out. Sustainable industry, right? Now, of course, this is going to influence your clients. You're going to share it with them. Your clients are going to take it to their friends. It's going to go out into the entire world, and we're just going to have a huge, awesome flow party when it's done. And this is the part where I invite you to the period coaching school. Yep, there's a lot to learn. There's all that vocabulary. There's all those things that can go wrong. There's what a real period, an ideal period is supposed to look like, which, tell you what, most people are shocked when I tell them that a period's not supposed to be painful. It's not supposed to be full of mood swings. And that's one of the big taboos that we're going to have to get through. And this is why I'd like your help. So join me in the period coaching school, where we're going to learn. That little book on the coat of arms there. It's all about learning and experiencing and sharing. The waves on that shield are all about living in flow, using flow, not burning out, not stressing out, but really embracing the flow and the movement. The sword is, of course, because we got to do some work. We got to end that taboo. We got to slash it down, remove those patriarchal hurdles that we need to get across. And of course, our blood drop, because we really need to remember that our blood is gold. It is a vital sign of our health and wellness. In fact, the fifth vital sign of our health and wellness, and should be respected and educated as such. What is the period coaching school going to do? Well, the first step is that we're going to chart and observe. So we're going to do Flow Freedom, one of my courses, together, where we're going to chart, we're going to observe, we're going to learn all 6 senses and how that affects our cycle, and how our cycle affects our 6 senses, and how to use that to balance our hormones. We're going to start planning in flow so we can start knowing what things feel like, how they work, and then predict them. So you can say, you know what, I'm not going to want to do that in 2 weeks. I'm going to say no. Or you know what, I'm going to definitely want to do that in a week from now. Let's plan it for then. You're going to start planning in flow. We're going to have masterminds regularly. We all come together as a community. You have an expertise. You have a zone of genius, and we want to see you participate just as much as a place for you to come and ask questions. It's really a place for all of these brilliant minds to come together and learn and share and help each other. We're going to educate and collaborate. One of the things that you're going to do in Period Coaching School is present. So you're going to share with us what you've learned, and we're going to share with you what we've learned. And it's part of our education platform. So of course, don't let your fellow students down. Do a great job, because you want to learn from them as well. So it's a really great place to learn and share information. And of course, collaborate. I really love seeing our coaching students collaborate. You're going to learn from somebody and you're going to be like, oh my God, we should totally support each other. Our business, I should promote your business to my people because they could really use it, and your people could really use what I've got. We're going to collaborate. We're going to help each other. We support each other. And at the end, all of this is going to empower ourselves. It's going to empower our clients, and it's going to set us free. There is such a weight off when we learn this stuff. And there's a freedom to being able to be you, to be out there, to be ahead of the curve, to embrace our cycles. It is such beautiful freedom. It's a value that I have, and that it's something I want to share with everybody, because you don't realize how much you're depending on other people until you learn your own cycle, you learn your own flow, and your clients need that. They need to learn that, what freedom really feels like. So I just wanted to share with you some of our guest teachers so you could get an idea of what we're looking at. So this is just 6. There's plenty more than this. So Lisa Henderson-Jack comes in and chats with us about fertility awareness method. Katie Bresak comes in to talk about fertility. She had quite a struggle with it and ended up with some twins that just turned 1. We have Archana, who came in and talked to us about working with the UN. She worked for the UN, and she traveled around the world working with governments to help deal with menstruation. She's got such a fascinating life and story. I could have just listened to her talk for days. Holly Griggs-Spall, the author of Sweetening the Pill and the producer of Business of Birth Control, the movie with Ricky Lake. She came in and talked to us about birth control and all the things that we need to know coming off of birth control for our clients safely, those kinds of things. Dr. Kara Quant, who is also the creator and visionary between an art show called Viva La Vulva that travels around. She also came in, she talked to us about how to advocate for yourself with your doctors, as well as how to really get some pleasure out of your cycle, which was just a ton of fun. And Ian, who is a heart-centered lawyer for coaches. So he really specifically works with health coaches, as well as other kinds of coaches. But he came in and he talked to us as coaches, period coaches, because he worked with me to set up my business and my legals. And so he came in and talked to our students as well and share with them how they're going to be setting up and what to look for their businesses. Now, there's plenty more where these came from. I just wanted to give you an idea of all of the different subjects that we're covering and all these different great people and interesting people from around the world that we're bringing in and sharing. So I'm inviting you to come in and apply today. Come, apply for the school. You're going to fill out a 3-question form. The first question is, what's your name? So really easy. And it was really easy. It's not a trick question. It's just some basic questions for me to get an idea of what you're looking for. And then we'll set up a 15-minute chat just to see how it goes and to make sure that you're a good fit for the school and that the school is a good fit for you. You can ask any questions that you'd like. At the end of the day, again, I really want the school to be a fantastic place for people to come and feel safe, to learn, to be in a really great environment. So we basically just have a short chat to make sure it works for both of us, and that's it. So click the link, come on in, apply now, and let's get you set up for the next enrollment. I'll talk to you soon.